Alright, what's up you guys? Welcome on this lovely Thursday night. How is everybody doing? It is a fantastic Hasbro HasLab event tonight, as this will be 1 out of 2 where it seems like we're gonna potentially unlock the base tier offering for the HasLab SlowCat, which might be within the next 48 hours. Seems a bit crucial. Then that's going to lead us to about 5 days left, and then from that point we're going to see, and then it's going to be the game changer of what tiers we're going to unlock at that point. Unless people decide to back out last minute, we'll see. But otherwise, how is everybody doing tonight? Thank you so much for joining. Let's catch up with the chat real quick. We have Alan Balcom, who will be joining later or tuning in later, so that's good. Shout out to Alan. Alan prefers that we hit 80 likes tonight for tonight's stream, so let's see if we can do that. Otherwise, it's okay. We have Mike Gold. Welcome to the chat. William Husted, I just read that. Sins, how's it going? With the peace sign, Miss with the shark emoji. We have Couchboy, what's going on? Kevin Kelly, how's it going? Roland Mack with the shark emoji. Let's see here. We have A Romo, how's it going? Tagworm says, look, boom, bust this, 100 likes. Ooh, I don't know if we'll hit 100 today, but we'll see. Nathan Paul says, think there will be enough last second international orders that Hasbro lumps in to push it over 14,000. I feel like the last couple of HasLabs jumped a good 4,000 to 5,000 at last suddenly before timer wound down. That's a very huge possibility. Again, I've seen people share. I mean, for those who are new to the classified HasLab, at least for the GI Joe portion, we've been having some numbers increase by the time after the funding ends too. So just because next week when we hit the ending of the funding, it doesn't mean that will be the final numbers, because they usually tally in like an extra few, which will boost up the numbers after that. So we'll see how that happens, or what's going to happen. Otherwise, I'm gonna kind of take a whim here and kind of conclude that the base offering will fund within the next maybe 3 to 4 days, if not, because we're gonna go over everything today. But I'm gonna guess. Otherwise, and then we have a lot of people here in the chat, or even those that are going to be watching later, who have stated that they are funding the HasLab. However, they might back out if the other tiers are not unlocked. So we might have some numbers be at a standstill, but we could also be losing numbers too. So the next 7 days are extremely crucial. Well, depending on when you watch this video, it could be tomorrow too, so it'll be 6 days for you guys that are watching it later. But for now, at the time of doing this live stream, we have 7 days. Let's see. We have, who do we have here? Joshua, what's going on? Says, hey Shark, did you catch me on the peg warmers a couple of weeks ago? You can put a face onto the name. Oh no, I haven't. I'm sorry, Joshua. I haven't gotten the chance. I'll definitely check it out. My apologies. With this whole HasLab situation, my timing has been off on a lot of other things, but I'll definitely check it out. And please do remind me in case I forget again. I deeply apologize for that. We have, who do we have here tonight? Russell Terrell, how's it going? Says, what's up, Shark and everyone? Good to see you all again. Hell yeah. Kevin Kelly says, I heard rumblings from my friends. They are going to do 0 Dark 30 cancellations. Ooh, shit. Sounds tough. Timothy James, how's it going? Says, what's up, Shark? Robert Wantlin, how's it going, brother? Good to see you. We have, oh nice, Christopher Bouchard with the $2 channel donation says, what's up, Shark? I passed on the SlowCat. Thank you so much, Christopher Bouchard. I really do appreciate that. I will give you the shark heart, starting the stream off strong with $2. Thank you so much, Christopher. We're only about 4 minutes into the stream and already channel donations. That's freaking awesome. So awesome. Thank you so much, Christopher, man. I really do appreciate that. Starting the stream off with the $2. Very good. Very cool too. Let's see here. Who do we have here in the chat? Rodimus Power Toy Collector, how's it going with the interesting emojis? Or handshake and that blue fishy looking thing. We have Bat and Joe Fan, welcome, welcome. Says a shop owner told me that Big Bad Toy Store and another online seller can order HasLabs and that will bump up the numbers. Do you know if that is true? That is true to an extent, because I don't know what the situation is if you know, for retailer stores like, or you know, for stores like that, do the numbers automatically jump in as soon as they do it, or does the numbers get add on later? Because I think their scenario is a little bit different. You know, they're not like the typical, you know, backer because this is for a store. However, unless they're actually using like a regular name and a credit card, etc., then perhaps they could be included in that number. But for now, but that is true. And we've seen this happen with all the other 3 HasLabs, where once the funding ends, like we usually give it like a day or 2, and then the numbers bounce like pretty high. At least for those 3 HasLabs that happened prior. I don't know what's going to happen with the SlowCat, but we will definitely see how that's going to work out. But again, the point of tonight's stream is that based on what we've seen, what we're going to look at in a little bit about Hasbro Pulse, we're very close to having it funded, even though we can already assume it's funded at this point, just because if you exclude all the last minute people. But again, we still have to see if there's going to be people that are going to be, you know, if we're going to be hitting the tiers. If not, then the only way this can hit magical numbers is if a lot of people end up backing the HasLab and you hit all the remaining tiers, and then we'll see like an influx of extra people, you know, joining in on the HasLab. Otherwise, if the thing that makes it slightly risky is even if it does get funded, chances are people could still back out. Yeah, in terms of, you know, they want the other tiers funded, but they're still staying optimistic, hoping that, you know, at least they reach to the Bivouac, even if Flint doesn't get unlocked. But you've seen my latest SHARKNEWZ video of talking about the unlockables and how they're all intertwined with each other. Also, yes, for those who have not ordered or haven't gotten their GIJOE Classified Rattler, the code name for the Rattler is Dinosaur Neil, as that's what's depicted on the box. So that's the code name for the Rattler, in case for those who have no idea what Dinosaur Neil means. 19 Jace, what's going on? Thank you so much for joining on tonight's stream. I appreciate it. What's up? What's up? 19 Jace says no sausages, no deal. Damn, he's going for that. We're going for sausages tonight. I'll give it like a minute or 2, and then we'll dive into the stream, or we'll check Hasbro Pulse, and then we'll check out the so in tonight's stream we're going to be looking at Hasbro Pulse, of course. We'll be refreshing the page like every other, I don't know, 10-15 minutes, and then we'll also look at the new photography that we've gotten for the HasLab SlowCat, which looks pretty decent. I mean, I have positive vibes for it. Looks cool. And we will talk about a lot of the pictures that are included within that even I believe Tony from the Hasbro GIJOE team has uploaded, so we'll take a look at those photos too. So it'll probably be a chill stream, just because you know, we're still a week away, but at the same time we're gonna see what's gonna happen. Too Bad Basis, what's going on, says what's up Shark, watching from another campground in northern Michigan. Damn. You know what's really cool is I always wanted to like go on a campground and like start cooking food like around sunset and watch like one of my favorite podcasts. That would be really cool. Couch Boy says overseas can hurt Flint. Big bootyful tariffs may make overseas numbers drop. That worries me. I mean, it's like I said, this can go in either way. The point is, I mean, for those that are just joining in, the point is, it could that the HasLab could fund, which we've seen it most likely will. But then at the same time, people could still back out too if it doesn't hit the other tier. So we shouldn't get our hopes up too much at the moment, but we should still stay a little bit optimistic. Joshua says, I wonder if Hasbro would consider canceling. They're going to look bad if it just barely funds at base level. No, at the end of the day, I think for them, as long as it funds, I think that's the main goal for them. Like, I don't know, you know, they mentioned it so many times that if, you know, the tiers are supposed to be things that are not supposed to be re-released or, sent, or what do you call it, given out for pre-order or whatever again at a later time, unless they do like a repaint or variant of that sort. But for that meaning, what was I saying? Yeah, so as long as it funds, they'd be okay with it, but they wouldn't cancel the whole entire thing, because for them, I don't think it would even make any difference. Yeah, I don't think it would make any difference for them if the other figures, they'll just save them time on tooling or like the production of it in general, because then they just have to make, because think about it, they'll make the money that they need, because again, the whole initial offering is really starting from the base. The base offering is really the entire price point that you're getting with the SlowCat. The tiers are already included into that price, right? So if you don't actually hit those other tiers, they're going to be laughing in our faces, because they're just going to say, haha, we're still making our money, but you guys are getting the low end of the stick because you're not getting those you're not getting those tiers. And then that's going to make a big difference for us as collectors, because we're paying more for less, and for them, they're making their money, but they're not going to like worry too much on, you know, like the other tiers hitting, because again, the whole point is if they hit the base offering, they made their money. It just depends on how many more people will have to because at the end of the day, the tiers are more so based on the people backing the HasLab. The more people that back the HasLab, it just means the more money that Hasbro makes. But if they make the whatever the base tier, then they're still making their money regardless. Even if it's like whatever the number is, because again, they have a projected goal, right? The goal is 8,000, so they have within their costs that if they hit that 8,000, they'll hit their mark, because their mark again is the 8,000. Anything after that is just like they're just getting more people and more money. But if they hit the 8,000, it's still like we met our goal, right? For them, it's like that's the whole point, is to reach the goal. All right, let's see here. Russell says, on a side note, not classified, has anyone heard when the Marvel Legends Crystal Warbow figure will go on pre-order? I was hoping to make them. I have no clue what that even is. Too Bad Basis says currently at 7,927. Oof, here we go. Joshua says your video was good, Shark. The sum I'd say was that the tiers depend on each other and don't work independently. Yes, 100% true. Robert says you have to assume they will be Battle Bear soon. I mean, at some point, yes. Couchboy says at least SlowCat will let Hasbro know that Jason Cowboy won a Thunder Machine with 8 motorcycles. Oh, I don't even know if those 8. That's a lot. 8 motorcycles. Malcolm says, what's up, you guys? Shark emojis with like 20 of them. That's crazy. That's a lot of shark emojis, Malcolm. But he also says Hasbro posted today those pictures of the SlowCat. Yes, we're going to go over those photos probably soon. Hold on. Nerd Alert says, what's up? How's it going, Nerd Alert? Thank you for joining. You are 100%. Hi, everyone, says Couchboy. Okay. Oh, Christopher Bouchard with the $5 channel donation, who says, I'm ready for the classified armored Cobra Commander figure. Ooh, thank you so much, Christopher Bouchard. Yeah, I mean, that figure, the armored Cobra Commander, was always my favorite version of Cobra Commander over the helmet version and over the actual hooded one too. So I don't know, I always fell in love with the armored one over all the other two. I know that the hooded one and the classic helmet is more nostalgic for everyone, but for me the armored one was more my favorite. All right. Now that we have enough people here watching right now, all right, let's go to all right, so here we are on HasbroPulse.com. Let's refresh the page. The last time I had this page open, we were at 7,909. Let's refresh it. 7,927. There you go. So we are not too far away. They're basically increasing by, I don't know, projection wise, at least 5 to 6 people like every other hour, maybe. Maybe like one person like every other, like 1 or 2 people every like half an hour or something. I don't know. So if I were to calculate this roughly in my head, which is going to be the most unrealistic calculations of all time, we should see the 8,000 number, depending on how slow this is going with 7 days left. We should see this, the 8,000 hit at least in the next, I'm guessing within the next 3 to 4 days. I don't think we will hit 8,000 by like tomorrow. But then again, we're at 27, so we're not too far off from 8,000. I'll say the longest would be at least 3 to 4 days, but roughly maybe like within the next, maybe by like tomorrow night at most. So I'm gonna reach for any one of those numbers, which eventually at some point will happen. Tagworm says, I want my tank. Which tank are you talking about? Title Manashir says, better late than never. What's good? Shark and Shark Gang. What's up, Title Manashir? Thank you so much for joining. Charles, how's it going? I always love that Mega Man cover photo. I mean, that profile photo. It's so sick. I can just think of the song in my head of the select screen or like the main intro screen. Yes, Boomy, that's how I grow a heel. Couch Boy's a heel. Robert says the last HasLabs were fun to watch, how high it would go, but this one is hard to watch. Yeah, this is, I mean, even this is like the G.I. Joe version of the Rancor, even though the Rancor was like the most devastating HasLab that I've had to watch. So again, this is like obviously a million times better than the Star Wars Rancor HasLab, but in terms of its steady and poor speed, we'll say it's like the Rancor, but again, not necessarily true, but just in that terminology of not getting it funded really fast. Malcolm says it might be backing a second SlowCat. Ooh, that's cool, man. If you like it, you like it. That's dope. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. So let's refresh this page one last time, or not one last time, but real quickly again. Let's see where we are. Still at 27. Okay. So for the time being, now let's take a look at the brand new photography photos from the G.I. Joe team, which I thought was pretty cool because in the last 7 days, finally they gave us photography. And for me personally, the photography should have been like one of the first things they should have had to kind of entice collectors. And on top of that, the background and the Dio set that they used for the SnowCat should have been slightly similar to how it should have been at San Diego Comic-Con, because with Comic-Con they used that very terrible like magic sand and all that junk. It was such a probably one of the worst displays I've ever seen. But if they had used something remotely close of that photography or like that backdrop at San Diego Comic-Con, I think we would have hit at least 8,000 by now, just because the lighting would have helped the mood. But either way, we'll come back to this later in the night and see how far we've hit. All right, so where are we? All right, here we go. Let's take a look at the photography in the time being. Mike Gold says I'm backing 2 already. Couch Boy says I've opened and toured with many national acts. When you want Jelly Roll or someone you boo me, I enjoy getting boos. Oh shit. Matthew Houghton, what's going on, brother? Says I personally think one of the biggest problems is if it all does fund, it's the message we're sending to Hasbro that the price is everything's okay. It's not. Next year they will just charge whatever. I mean, you are 100% right, Matthew. I have no denials that what you're saying is wrong. Whatever you're saying is absolutely true, because the thing is, I don't want to like step on people's toes, because if you are enjoying this and you're loving it, then, you know, I'm really happy for you. But on a business perspective, you know, in order to send Hasbro a message, you know, you kind of have to like tell them like enough is enough, you know, like let your money and your wallet speak for you. Now, I've seen a lot of people say like they have the money to you know, to fund it, which is 100% cool, like that's your thing. But, you know, sometimes it's like, you know, yes, we are all supportive and we love the brand so much, but sometimes it's like, you know, like, I don't know how to explain it. Trying to be the most positive way to explain it is just like, I don't know, don't back it. That's probably the only way to send a message, I guess, because like Matthew says, if everyone is totally okay with the price being at $325, then if there's a vehicle that was not supposed to be a HasLab, but it ends up becoming a HasLab, and let's say it's not the Thunder Machine, that's a popular one, let's say it's some random other Cobra vehicle, and they charge more than $325, or maybe the same price, but it's like a shitty Cobra vehicle, then Hasbro is just going to get greedy and be like, well, you guys bought the SnowCat, there's no difference of you buying this, at least in my opinion. So chances are they could just say, you know, whoa, what's the difference? You guys bought that one, you can buy this one too. Joshua says, I didn't think the SDCC display was bad, but I'm not an artist like Shark. Well, when I say it was bad, I mean it didn't help fund it any faster. I don't have the photo of the Comic-Con display, but if you look at this photo that we have right here, I mean, look at the backdrop of the mountains, look at the trees, look at the actual, like, you know, the SnowCat going on top of the rocks and shit. Like, that actually helps bring out the vision and imagination of owning this, like, in your collection. Now, granted, like 99% of people are not going to have this exact background. They're not going to have this Dio piece in the snow, and it's not going to look anywhere remotely close to how cool this photo looks. But the point is, you know, it helps visualize what potentials it has for people who do photography and those who live in snow areas, for those who live in areas where it does snow and it's not like always snowing, but at least winter is coming around. You know, so people can do their photography that way. And you know, it's not just for those who are like, we're going to use like white bed sheets, right? So I think that's what helps entice collectors, saying, wow, that's a really awesome display, this gives me an idea, so maybe I might want to back the HasLab. Because if you were someone that got the Dragonfly or the Hiss Tank or even the Rattler, forget the Rattler and Dragonfly, because you have to hold those in your hand. But the Hiss Tank, you know, I've seen many people, even if they're not good at photography, at least they brought the Hiss Tank out like in the sandbox. They're out in their backyard. It kind of brought the vehicle to life. Compared to this, it's like, it's not going to look that great if you put it on photography in green grass. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it's like an all-terrain style vehicle, but the whole emphasis is like, you know, if it's like 98 degrees outside and you're bringing this big beast out there, then I don't even know what you're doing. The whole ice in the kitchenette's going to melt at that point. So, but otherwise, I think this photography is really awesome. That's like one of my favorite parts of talking about Classified is the photography of it, because that's what helps bring out the imagination of it. Chris Yule, welcome to the chat, says Cobras, welcome. Malcolm says, I missed the dragonfly. Oh man. Bill Lionaire says, oh, welcome to the chat, says, I'm gonna love this thing outside in the snow. I mean, freaking Canada, man, you guys are so damn lucky with the snow. At least here in the East Coast where I'm from, snow has barely even came at this point. We don't get much snow. We'll get like maybe 1 or 2 inches of snow, but nothing too much. Not like it used to back in like the early 2000s or like the early 90s and stuff like that, maybe late 80s too. So yeah, so that's a cool photo, but let's go to the next one. Joe Bits, welcome to the chat, says the monster vehicle looks great in my fridge. Yeah, I mean, you can open your fridge, throw it in the freezer, maybe take some photography in there, that might help. Elvin Martinez Jr., welcome to the chat, says good evening Shark, how's it going? It's going well, not too bad. We're just looking at the photography here. Now, I don't know who it was in the chat before, but somebody told me that Emily said the rims are going to be colored. Now somebody said in the post that Tony posted on Instagram something about like the pins on the actual figures, which we'll get into a little bit later, but he did say that this is also still the prototype. So I don't know if he means the figures are still the prototype or is the SlowCat still the prototype. And that means, are they still going to color the rims of this, or are they going to keep it gray? Because they should definitely color it something. I mean, the gray, okay, like I get why it's gray, but I mean, for $325, you better color that stuff. But otherwise, it's detailed nice. I mean, like I said before, the imagery of the snowflakes and the trees in the background and the rocks and the snow on the ground really helps promote the vehicle a lot better compared to that Comic-Con display. And I know a lot of people said it was better to look at in person, but honestly, just looking at the just looking at it from the photos, it still wasn't that great. Joshua says, yes, the rims are supposed to be colored and there's supposed to be more rivets and details. Do you know what color they're gonna do it, Joshua? Elvin says, I want rims colored yellow. Maybe they could add some, oh, what if they screw over, well, I don't want to say screw over, but what if they do something very interesting after the whole campaign ends? What if they say, hey, now that the whole thing has funded, quote unquote, here are like bonus decal stickers. Here is a bonus rims for the tires or the wheels. Because if they already have the real photography for this, that just means they're not going to do it again. They're not going to, retake photography and post it. So this is pretty much all we're going to get in terms of the official product shot. But in terms of sticker decals and updated colored rims, maybe they could, tell people, hey, well, you should have backed it. Therefore, now here's your prize. We're giving you extra stickers, or we're giving you colored rims and this and that. So A Romo says they are too cheap for that. I mean, that's true. I mean, we all assumed that they were going to give us something more than the patches, but that didn't come to fruition either. So maybe I'm just wishful thinking here. Nerd Alert says leave the wheels alone. Too much might be overkill on the deco. I can see that, but then again, the wheels would have made it, well, not overkill, because if the original had yellow, then just like how the Hiss tank had the additional treads, or the cover for the treads, or like the canopy, they could have easily done the same thing with these to give it more of a classier SnowCat with the yellow rims instead. I mean, not instead, but like additional bonus rims to kind of make it classy. I don't know. Who do we have here? The Brandon 2807, what's going on, brother, says when comparing the original vehicles, the SnowCat was bigger than the Hiss tank. Unfortunately, I never owned the original SnowCat, so I've seen the size dimensions at like toy stores when I would go hunting at like local vintage toy shops, and I would see the Hiss tank, and I'd be like, okay, I can picture the size in my head, but I've never really seen the SnowCat like side by side comparison wise next to the Hiss. Therefore, even from what I've seen on Google, like, yes, it does seem bigger. So I guess it's because a lot of people were kind of thinking of it more of the animated series, where the Hiss tank is supposed to be like this massive thing, whereas this is supposed to be more like a smaller scale vehicle for like more regular, retail, like Hasbro Pulse exclusive, rather than an actual like beast of a HasLab. So one thing to note here is that, earlier the G.I. Joe team, and we're talking about like a year or two ago, they stated that, and I don't even remember what interview that was or where that I can even find that interview again, but they did mention like, the SnowCat wouldn't be like a HasLab because it has to be a big enough vehicle to make sense for its money. But then again, now here we are like a year or two later, and the SnowCat is an actual HasLab. So now at this point, anything is really possible. Like, now there's no point in any YouTuber or even me saying this vehicle is too small. I mean, this is kind of funny, even though very, very, very unrealistic. For all we know, they could easily take Copperhead's water moccasin, and make that into a HasLab too, which again is super unrealistic. But again, if they said that the SnowCat wouldn't be a HasLab, and here it is as a HasLab, and I don't remember who it was in the stream earlier or previous streams, but they mentioned that there most likely will be, within like another 2 to 3 years, we will see re-releases of HasLab vehicles, but as regular retail or like Pulse exclusives, or like, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So that's another thing. Like, if people don't have the Hiss tank, if people don't have the SnowCat, there's also a very good chance within the next 2 or 3 years, because they have most of the molding and this and that, they could easily strip away a lot of its LED lights, a lot of its extra detail, and so on. Take out the tiers and just package the vehicle by itself, and then do like a regular release, which, I wouldn't put it past Hasbro, because for those who have collected G.I. Joe since the 80s, they know very well that Hasbro is very good at reusing parts and re-releasing things over and over again until they milk the hell out of it. So and we've seen that with a lot of the new figures that are releasing. A lot of them are like kit bashed, and you can kind of tell which figures have different similar parts from other characters. So they're saving more on tooling, but they're just changing the coloring, and they're charging us a lot more, and we're buying it. So I don't know how to, good old Hasbro tactic there. Robert says Shark has always had the best community. Thank you so much, Robert, man. That means a lot to me. Yeah, you guys are freaking awesome. Thank you so much, man. You guys are so chill. You guys are down to earth. I absolutely love it. Alright, so let's move on to the next photo. Alright, so here we have a front shot of the SlowCat, and this looks fine. Yeah, I thought it would look a little, I think the render had it a little bit different, but I don't know. But it looks cool. It's funny how it says front towards target in case people put on the missile things backwards, unless I don't know, the Cobra's behind this, but whatever. Joe Bits says, if the next HasLab will be a Cobra vehicle, what do you think that HasLab will be? Also, what are you drinking tonight? I'm drinking water. This shark is drinking water tonight. I mean, because my only consensus is, if you think about Cobra vehicles, I'm thinking off the top of my head, there aren't too many like Cobra vehicles that are as I don't want to. I'm like, because my only thing is like, what if they do like, I mean, it could either be a water vehicle like the hydrofoil, which I don't know, like size wise, but again, if they could take the SNOWCAT and make that into a HasLab, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Like, I don't even care anymore. I'll just think of any vehicle and make it a HasLab now. It could either be the hydrofoil. They could bump up the Thunder Machine, because we have all the Dreadnoks released, and it's easy for them to do the tiers, because you can have Thrasher, Zanya, or Zanya, however you want to say her name, Heart Wrencher, and then any of the other like Dreadnoks, like Billy Bob or whoever the hell that shit was. You know, so like they have all these random, like, and even if you Google the you know, the Dreadnoks list, you can see that there's so many offsprings of Dreadnoks characters that are included in the line. So those could also be tiers too. And then the reason why I don't include the Night Raven is, even though this goes against the G.I. Joe team's wording, but you know, they did say that the Night Raven would be way too huge for them to do, because they took the SNOWCAT and updated it to this big beast right here. But the Sky Striker, and if you Google it, I think the Sky Striker and the Night Raven are roughly the same size, roughly, because I think it's also bigger than the Rattler. I think, I could be wrong. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But they did say that the Sky Striker is way too big for them to do a HasLab. Therefore, the Night Raven might be in the same, you know, etc., etc. So I think the next one, because again, we're gonna, so here's one thing, I don't want to like bum you guys out, but like I was thinking about this the other night, and I was like, okay, it's 2025. The next HasLab has to be Cobra, because they're going to, you know, the G.I. Joe Cobra route, G.I. Joe Cobra, G.I. Joe Cobra, you know. So the next one has to be a Cobra vehicle. Now, if it, you know, if it is a Cobra vehicle, cool, but that means that Cobra vehicle will be in funding in 2026, which means it won't be released until 2027, which means the next G.I. Joe vehicle will not be announced until 2027, and we won't get the next Joe HasLab vehicle in our hands till 2028. Is that correct? I think that's correct. Because look, SNOWCAT is 2025, release is 2026, but at the same time you announce the Cobra in 26, it releases in 27, announce the new Joe HasLab in 27, and it releases in 28. So the next G.I. Joe HasLab vehicle is going to be in 2028. And I was thinking about that the other night, and I was just like, oh my god. We're all going to be old and crusty at that point. Think about it. 2028, because this big beast isn't coming out till next year. And then you have to wait, and if they're going the same route, the route of the you know, G.I. Joe Cobra scenario, then again, we won't see another HasLab Joe vehicle till 2028, meaning roughly in our hands, because in 2027 we'll get the actual reveal. So wow, God rest our souls. And this is just HasLabs. They could be doing all the other vehicles in the meantime. Elvin Martinez Jr. says, by the way, Shark, I'm really enjoying the news formats you are posting. Feels like small snippets of our live chats. Dude, those are so much harder to do. And honestly, I'm just getting so lazy at editing videos now that I just prefer doing it that way. Although I will have edited videos when I feel like it, but it's just so much convenient and easier for me to do. But I do have fun doing those videos because it's basically the same thing you see here, just without the chat. But yeah, I'm having a fun time doing those as well. So thank you, Elvin. Why not do a G.I. Joe headquarters? Because that would be way too huge. Welcome Sean D to the chat, by the way. The G.I. Joe headquarters is I mean, that's way too massive, to be quite honest. Like, you would literally have to sell the headquarters in multiple parts, because doing a giant ass big box for the headquarters, I think would be absolutely insane. I wouldn't rule it off the table, but I don't think that's going to be happening. Because right now we're only on the porta potties for the classified line, and I think a headquarters would be intense. Brandon says Night Raven would be sick. Joe Bit says, yeah, I forgot about that Thunder Machine promo from 2 months ago. Yeah, because think about it. If they heavily marketed the Thunder Machine, the Dreadnoks all year, the Cold Slither for San Diego Comic-Con, it should have easily been the Thunder Machine. I know a lot of you were probably like, no, the Thunder Machine is too small to be a HasLab, but, you know, anything is possible now. Or even if it's not a HasLab, at least reveal the vehicle at Comic-Con, saying like this will be a Pulse exclusive. That could have been sick too. But they didn't do that. All right, hold on. Let's. Professor Polish, welcome to the chat. Says Fan Hobby released a helicopter to pre-order. You know, I always mix up those names, the Fans Hobby and Ramen Toys. I don't know why. I always get those two mixed up. And then Gridiron Studios. Those three are always doing like some crazy stuff with vehicles. All right, let's move on to the next photo. All right, so this photo. Before I do, please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you are new. I would appreciate that. Thank you so much, guys. Tonight's stream goal will be 80 likes in honor of Alan Balcom, who will be joining the stream later. But so in this photo, hold on, somebody said something about my hair. Scott Mora, welcome to the chat. I think this is your first time here. I don't remember seeing your name before, but welcome, Scott Mora, to the chat. What does Scott say? It says, what about a Dreadnought vehicle or Iron Grenadiers vehicle? Honestly, I think San Diego Comic-Con would have been so awesome if not only they had Cold Slither, but they should have had at least Destro and his despoiler, the gold-headed Destro. That would have been really sick. Shoot, I don't know where somebody said something about my hair. I forgot where that comment went. Oh, Joshua says the SnowCat needs to fund in honor of Shark's snow-themed hair choice. Thank you. Thunder Machine has... Oh, Nathan Paul, welcome to the chat. Says, will come with a barbecue tier for Road Pig to cook the sausages. That would be interesting. Yeah, so this photo I thought was very interesting because it makes... So I don't know how anal you guys are about firepower on your vehicles, but a lot of people made some sense in the terms of, you know, let's say the two characters are sitting in the SnowCat. They use the missiles, which is fine, but then what do you do after the missiles are gone, right? So then it's like, do you just get out of the SnowCat and then you start firing like a wild man? Is that how like it's run in the military? Because you know, with the HISS tank we had the gunner, and then the tactician figure as well, but you know, there was all those extra firepower that you can add on to the bottom of the HISS tank and even the top of the HISS tank. And then the Dragonfly had the extra firepower on the, I think, yeah, it had the extra missiles or like the firepower underneath the both the wings, which helps for once you use up all the missiles. I don't remember the Rattler, but I believe there are, yeah, because you have the gunner figure as well. So everyone has extra firepower but the SnowCat. So now this is one of those vehicles where it's like you fire all your missiles and you're like, oh shit, I don't know what to do now, let's retreat. Right? I mean, but these are GI Joes, they would easily get out, but my point is there's no like additional attachments for someone to stand in the back or in the sides or somewhere to shoot like extra bullets, right? So I think that's what's missing on this HasLab, which I don't know if you guys agree or disagree or don't prefer it or prefer it. Let me know, but yeah, I think it could have been a lot better if they did, you know, included some extra firepower on here. Elevate me to the human form. Welcome to the chat. It's good to see you again, and welcome Green Jedi Master. Welcome, welcome. All classic names here in tonight's stream. Rocky Teller, what's going on, brother? Did I say Rocky? I think Rocky was new. I don't know. Sorry. Also, shout out to the over 100 people watching on tonight's stream. Thank you guys so much for joining on this Thursday night. I really do appreciate it. So yeah, make sure you hit that like button. It'll definitely help the channel grow in all means possible. Professor Pola says, oh, in Big Bad Toy Store, one skill, Soldiers of Fortune, has a blue figure with a hooded Cobra Commander. Yeah. So I was having a conversation about this with Couch Boy on Instagram. The reason why that there is no hooded Cobra Commander right now, while the other companies can make hooded figures like Star Wars and Marvel Legends, is because those are Disney properties. Disney kind of has like the higher up, and they can literally tell Hasbro, like, listen, we're investing our money into your products. Therefore, if this figure has a hood, you bet your ass you make it. Whereas for G.I. Joe, they 100% own the brand. So if they feel like Cobra Commander with a hood is too sensitive, then they're not going to do it because that's their baby. G.I. Joe is a Hasbro, like, born thing. Hasbro can't tell Disney or Marvel, be like, oh, this is too sensitive for us to make. If they're making like if they're making like Hoopla's amount of cash in terms of their, you know, MCU movies and Star Wars movies, and they'll make all the hooded figures they want. But for G.I. Joe, man, forget about it. They're not gonna risk the Hasbro name, because they're gonna be like, hey, that's Star Wars, that's Disney, but that's Marvel, but we're not gonna do it. All right, let's move on. Okay, so here we go. More missile firepower. That's pretty cool. Again, it says front towards target. So again, you don't want to put those on backwards because the missiles could go the opposite direction and you can probably kill yourself. And you don't want that to happen. How do you guys feel about the missile being on the snowboard? Professor Polish says, yeah, I get it. I'm just saying you can. Yeah. It's part of the Soldiers of Fortune. There is a blue hooded, like, quote unquote Cobra Commander style figure on there. So I don't know when the release date of that figure is, but it's coming out at some point. But I always found this really funny. A missile on a snowboard. I always think, like, in this scenario, if there's a lot of rocks, a lot of like mountains on the sides or in its vicinity, what if the missile just like collapses over because it hits the angle is wrong and the missile just explodes like in a place where it's not supposed to be? I don't know. Like, I just think this is pretty funny. It's like remote control style missile, kind of like, it's like Metal Gear Solid, where he controls a missile, but this is with the snowboard. Okay. Nerd Alert says I'm 50-50. Chris Yule says the Snow Torpedo should have got an update. Title Manager says that's just good fun. That's good. See, I like your optimism. Robert says just as weird as anything else, so why not? Okay, I agree with that. Nerd Alert says it might look cool on a shelf. Sean D says missiles should look more like a shark. The ski missile just doesn't look the same. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Professor says the Snowpedo is a little goofy for real. Jason Altridas, welcome to the chat, says maybe it is to drag it. Couch Boy says Bikini Leia got a name change. Ooh. Chris Yule says I remember in the comic books they used the missile snowboard to sink a sub. Okay, so if they have accuracy in their where they're paying homage to, then that's good. Eternitine Forever, welcome to the chat. Says hello everyone, it's good to see you. Matthew says sadly it looks like this is going to where did Matthew go? This is going to back by the end of the night. Maybe we're gonna make history on tonight's live stream. Maybe by the time we're done we'll back the entire HasLab, who knows. Nerd Alert says those blast effects look great. Yeah, their blast effects are always great. There's no issues with that. The effects, the firepower that comes with all their weapons, like, those are always good. Jason says I don't think it is a delivery system just to help them carry in a case of a breakdown. That could work, yeah. Pull it through a rope. Russell Terrell says the Japanese use wooded fins on their torpedoes when they attacked Pearl Harbor, made it stay at the surface of the water. The skis make sense. Okay, well that's good to know. And knowledge is power. Couchboy says, I see Chuckles holding it snowboarding. He likes to hold missiles. That's funny. That's probably comment of the night. Oh shit, Firefly with the $5 says, just ordered a second SnowCat. We getting close to 7,937. Thank you so much, Firefly, for those $5, man. Thank you, man. I really do appreciate that. I mean, you should save that money for your HasLab. Alright, let's move on. But thank you so much, Firefly, and everyone else who has donated to tonight's stream already. Thank you guys so much. Alright, here we have another photo of the missile. Pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's just one of those things where I'm thinking of it more in the sense of what if it goes over a rock and it just like tilts over sideways and it just explodes like there randomly. Okay. Next, we have our first introduction to Frostbite. Looks like he's opening the door. He looks pissed off. That's pretty cool. I do like the frost, no pun intended, on the windshield. That stuff looks pretty cool. Odds Mods, welcome to the chat. Says just joined the stream and I'm now looking at the snowboard missile. Nice. Well, thank you so much for joining, Odds Mods. Eterna Teen says, speaking of an extra firepower, if you shot all the rockets, you remove the rack and the Joes can use the weapons stored there in the back. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah. I can see that. Chris Yule says the SnowCat is not a frontline vehicle. Makes sense. Couchboy says Bikini Baroness will never be made. Green Jedi Master says could be a fire by wire. Rocky says good to see the blast effects in the correct direction with the smoke on the back. Robert says these pictures look great. I agree. All right, let's see what else we have here. Ooh, okay, so we have Frost. So again, I believe Tony mentioned on Instagram, somebody asked why are there pins on the figures. I guess Tony did say that these are prototypes, so these aren't 100% like fully finished figures to an extent. I don't know, but we see that there are pins on the elbow joints or on the biceps as well, so at least it's good to know that they are admitting that these are prototypes and not the official product. So that's good transparency right there. He's fixing one of the other tires, which is cool. But here's the thing though, the reason why this photography looks freaking fantastic is because look at all the white snow inside the creases or the crevices of the treads. Whereas if we have these on our actual shelves, other than dust, it's going to look clean as hell. Because I don't think, you know, unless you bring this out in the dirt or in the actual snow, but we know it's going to melt, right? There's absolutely no way we're going to be able to, you know, keep the white frost on the actual treads. So unless you want to get like your furniture all wet and shit. But again, it's going to look more clean and black compared to this nice frost that we see here, especially on the actual the gears and stuff of the wheels and stuff. So that's one thing to also note. Sins, by the way, Sins, welcome to the chat. Did I say welcome, Sins? I don't remember at this point. I'm losing my mind. Says that vehicle in the black camo. Ooh, that would be really sick. Jason says, Shark, when is the next classified event live stream? In September? I think PulseCon is September. Cause PulseCon is one of the last final events before we do Hasbro's 1027 event. Hasbro's 1027 is the last the classified of the year event, because that's when November and December are like the chill season, so we won't get anything then. So we have Hasbro's PulseCon, which is again another really big event for Pulse collector or Hasbro GIJOE Classified collectors, And then we have New York City Comic-Con, which is where Pythona probably will be up for pre-order. I mean, I guess if you go there according to Preternia.com. And then we have Manchester's Comic-Con, MCM, London. That's another Comic-Con coming to happen. So there's about 4 more events, and I think there's also the Target Fall Geek Out event, which will be Steeler and Short Fuse 2-pack. So within the next 2 months, we should see a buttload of pre-orders go up again. So Mockcom says you can create something to make it look like that. Yeah, 100%. I just mean like there's some collectors that don't want to mess it up in sense of like not everyone is as creative as this. So it's not impossible to do. It's just depending on your style of collecting if you want to add the additional detail and stuff. So, but otherwise it's fine. Ooh, we have Frostbite pulling out the hatch. That's pretty cool. This one, this is nice. I like this one. I like the angle of it. Yeah, I mean, all that's pretty cool. Let's go to the next photo. All right, so we have Frostbite again, but now he's taking out the missiles. That says Avalanche on it. Ooh, is that a foreshadow? Maybe that's a foreshadow. We got missiles in the back over there. We got the SlowCat just chilling there. Frostbite looks fine. Do you guys think that we're gonna get a retro Frostbite just because the original O-ring figure has a beige, not beige, like an off-white, egg white fur, whereas this classified version has brown fur on his shoulders? So do you think that because this one is brown and not necessarily toy accurate, do you think that we're gonna get like a lighter off-white fur version to make it look more like retro-y, or do you think this will be like the one and all version of it? Because I don't know, I feel like we might get one, just like how we might possibly see another Wild Weasel from the Rattler, but this time without obviously the Rattler, but Wild Weasel with his more signature helmet compared to the classified version, which is more like an updated air helmet, supposedly. All right, let's see what's happening with the chat. It says, I really hope the SNOWCAT funds. I really want a polar battle bear, but they're probably rethinking snow vehicles regardless. I mean, to be quite honest, if JDS Wet, welcome to the chat. I think Hasbro is working in reverse order. I think what they're gonna do is, what they're doing is they're limiting the marketing for this, and they want people to just fund it and get it themselves. And then after it's funded, I have a feeling they might just start vamping up a lot of snow and Arctic characters and possibly the polar battle bear. And I think that's when they're gonna hit people in the FOMO, because that's where everyone will probably be like, shit, I should have backed this HasLab. I think that's what that's what the slight goal might be, because again, other than Snow Job and the newly announced Iceberg, which won't be coming out till like next year or something, we just have Frostbite and Snow Job, but this guy's not even coming out till next year either. So potentially we could see like an influx of Arctic characters in the next year before this comes out. Because remember when the Dragonfly came out, that's when they announced Airborne and then Hawk, and then Emily and the G.I. Joe team were just like, yeah, like these characters go hand in hand with the Dragonfly. And then they had the Steel Core, the 2-pack figures announced as well to kind of go hand in hand with the Dragonfly. So and those were revealed after it all funded. So there's a really good chance we could see again more Arctic characters after this gets funded, or more reasons to feel the FOMO after, but who knows. All right, we got Frostbite with his wrench. Pretty cool. Nice angle. That's fine. Chris Yule says SlowCat is at 7,938. It will fund, but getting any tiers. I think we will definitely hit the 8,000 mark possibly by tomorrow night. If we're already at 38, we should, maybe I'll push it till Saturday morning, but tomorrow night possibly. Jason says he looks like he uses the Big Ben tooling. Retro, definitely. Even the Arctic Flint, he actually uses the same arms, biceps, and all that stuff as this Frostbite. So they did save a little bit of money on tooling. So it's not like you're getting like everything new, but you could be right there. Marquise Butler, welcome to the chat, says need the Tiger Force. I think this is your first time here. Need a Tiger Force version of Frostbite before a retro version. Oh yeah, and they did announce Lifeline too. So Lifeline and Frostbite are both part of Tiger Force. So we could be getting Tiger Force versions of those characters too. Green Jedi Master says I'm hoping for more snow vehicles. Nice, yes. More snow vehicles are sick. Mike Gold says retro snow job probably going to be next retro. I mean, we're pretty much done with retro figures for 2025 because the green shirt army builder and the retro bat were the last 2 figures of the year. So we won't see any retro figures till next year, which is unfortunate, but I guess it is what it is. Nathan Paul says 8,000 by Saturday, still averaging a nightly drop of around 40. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some numbers drop here and there, but nothing too drastic. Like sometimes I'll see like 10 people drop, and then they'll still gain like 20 people more. So, hold on. Rocky says, in case we don't get enough snow figures, there is the Arctic Steel Brigade figures to be used for this vehicle. Are you talking about the ones from Valaverse? Because those are pretty sick. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Elvin says, seeing these images, I really do want it. I just can't justify the cost if the rest of the tiers aren't unlocked. Yeah, man, that's 100% valid, man. Don't worry. Don't feel bad for not, don't let anyone make you feel bad too if you're not getting it. Don't worry about it, man. Like, collecting should make everyone happy. Cobranomics, welcome to the chat with the googly eyes. welcome. Alright, we got more Frostbite here. Pretty cool. Hold on, let me just take a look at this if I can zoom in. Oh, nice. Yeah, you can see the pins right there on the left arms, and you can see a lot of like the blacks and a little bit more of the prototype-y-ish. It looks more like what do you call it? Glossy, and you can see like there's some dings and scratches like on the actual torso piece. So yeah, prototype indeed. But it's fine, no biggie. Frostbite there too. Alright, so we have Frostbite here working on the engine. That's fine. That's cool. Nothing new there. Alright, so this is pretty cool. So before we talk about this, we are at 72 likes. Alan Balcom wants 80 likes on tonight's stream, so let's hit 80 for Alan because he's not able to join tonight. So Alan, if you are watching later, the 80 likes is for you. So we're at 72, let's hit it to 80. Pixel Ford says, I'm still waiting on my Rattler to ship. Oh man, that's crazy. But some people are still getting it though. Slowly coming in. Scott says, I think they will do a retro Wild Bill in the Sunbow version with the blue shirt. Yes. For those that don't know, Wild Bill in the cartoon had an orange vest with a blue jumpsuit, whereas the classified version with the Dragonfly was paid homage to the original O-ring with the green jumpsuit and like the brownish vest. Therefore, a retro Wild Bill seems very, very likely at some point. Okay, so this one looks pretty cool. At least now we can see how the Joes will step onto the back, and then you can open up the compartments, and then you can see, as someone mentioned earlier in the chat, that you can place the weapons there, just in case for more firepower. Some of the Joes can sit there in the back. So I can see this. This adds a little bit more vision to the vehicle, which is nice because the renders, I don't think it showed it too well, but this gives me a little more of a better idea of how you can associate other Joes, like even the snake eyes with the polar bear, how you can utilize that figure. It's just cool to see like a platform that can be lowered up and down just for, you know, your figures to kind of step on. So that's the kind of imagination I love on vehicles or G.I. Joe in general. Not so much like the kitchen shit, but this is the stuff that I like. Lawrence Witzel, welcome to the chat, says only need 63 more to fund. Oh shit, 63 already? Wow. Green Jedi Master says, where are these pictures located? They can be found on Tony's Instagram page. Some Joes can freeze their nuts off in the back. Yes, says Chris Yule. JD Sweat says, got my Rattler, but the shipping was weird. Got my notifications from FedEx, but never received any emails from Hasbro. Man, Hasbro's whack. Don't even expect emails from them. And I say that loosely just because a lot of times figures have shipped. Like, people get notifications from Hasbro like after everything is over, so they gotta work on that. Alright, next photo. Ooh, we have Frostbite freaking snowboarding. So I guess this will go hand in hand with him being chased by one of the snow serpents who also has a snowboard. That's cool. And Snowdrop come with the snowboard? I don't remember. Yes, I keep forgetting about Big Ben. I don't know why. I always forget about that guy. I think it's because I associate this classified version of Big Ben with the Night Forest rather than like an Arctic one, because of that photography, he was like deep in the forest with a freaking range viper. If they had marketed more of a snowier one, then probably I would have remembered it a lot more. Cobranomics says, my poop is one of a kind, but I have trouble selling them. This HasLab is the same. Not many collectors want it, and it is struggling. Rarity might be there and not in demand. So I did read a post someone shared saying that if not a lot of people get, if not a lot of people get this, you know, HasLab, someone is saying the value and this HasLab will be extremely rare. So here's my thoughts about this. To be quite honest, G.I. Joe Classified, despite having value in the aftermarket and despite being a moneymaker for Hasbro, you guys can disagree with me on this one, because I feel like this is kind of where I have a little bit of a disagreement with this statement. But I think in the long run, Classified is not going to be like super duper valuable, because I think where the real value is in the original G.I. Joe O-ring line from the 80s. Those things are getting more expensive by the hour. Classified is still brand new, and we still have like over 100 more characters to go to be released, and we still have many years to go. And we don't know how far the Classified line is going to go. We don't know how far the G.I. Joe team will go. Will the roster of the team of, you know, Lenny, Emily, and Tony change in the future? Will there be new people? Nobody knows. Will the line get canceled in the future? Nobody knows. Will there be a new CEO of Hasbro instead of Chris Cox? Nobody knows. So it's one of those things where right now the Classified line is extremely hot and value in the market is there. But at the end of the day, we're like, because with the O-ring, just to quickly go over it, the G.I. Joe O-ring figures, they're all finished. The anniversary lines, they're all done. The 35th anniversary, 50th or whatever, 25th, they're all finished. Those are all completed. So when you have a completed run of characters, that's what makes the value go extremely skyrocketing high, because the roster is finished. Like, there's no more else to make. They're not going to make any more. With Classified, if you're still in the middle of, you know, creating your line, and people are saying like, oh, like, just because a lot of people won't back this HasLab, which means the SnowCat will be extremely rare. It might be rare, but I don't think it's going to be like as rare as getting a vintage 80s USS flag. It's not going to be as rare as getting a Cobra Terradrome, not as rare as getting G.I. Joe Command Center Complete from 1985, if that makes sense. So anyways, just a little thought. Cobra for Life, welcome to the chat, says big shout out to you. Were you already here? I don't remember. Says big shout out to you, Shark, but if we cannot unlock all the tiers, I'm backing out. It doesn't make sense to pay almost $400 for one figure. Can somebody who is actually backing it, can you guys let me know what is the shipping for this? Also, shout out to the whole chat and for all of you that are watching tonight. We hit the tonight's stream goal for 80 likes. Thank you guys so much. This is dedicated to Alan Balcom, who will be joining tonight's stream later, but we hit 80 likes tonight. Thank you guys. We made it. All right. Oh shit. Here we go. We're getting into the nitty-gritty of the photography. All right. So what I'm gathering from this photo right here is that the fire and the drilling of the ice, I don't know what you call it, on the right, and then that little fishing pole, those do not come with Frostbite. Those are, I believe, Lady Jaye's accessories. So already this photo right here might give FOMO in the sense of you're not getting any of this crap. Because look, there's even fish on the bottom left. So that means this, so whatever Frostbite's holding, whatever accessories you see and all that stuff, this is all tier 2, which means anything in this photography other than Frostbite is not associated to the base offering. So just be wary of that, because this photography I think is supposed to entice people. But look, who's it? Green Jedi Master says an auger. Okay, thank you, appreciate it. But look, we have this, the auger. Hopefully I pronounced it right. I apologize if I didn't. We got the thermostat, or shit, what do you call it? You guys know what I'm talking about. Sorry, I'm getting a freaking brain freeze here. So look, we have the 2 pieces of fish right there. The fireplace. All right. But yeah. Wowzy wow. Hold on, let me see here. Joshua says we're only 60 away. Holy shit. I mean, it might fun tonight then. Wow, but I don't know if I can stay on that long. Free shipping for Prime members. Okay, awesome. Tagworm says 100 likes. Ooh, I don't know. That might be tough. Thermos, yes. Thank you so much, Joe Bits. I have free shipping, says Malcolm. Surcharge is $30. Shipping $6 or $7. Yeah, okay. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. The frying pan in the back will only arrive with tier 3. Where's the frying pan? Oh, good catch. Yeah. The frying pan. This frying pan that you guys probably don't see really right here. Hold on. Let me see if I can make this better. There we go. That's a little better. Yeah, so this frying pan right here, this is associated to Flint. So that's a very, very sneaky Hasbro right there. Okay, let's see what else we got. Ooh, now we got the Bivouac. Hey, hold on, are the flame effects separate? Does anybody know that the flame effects were an attachable piece? I thought it was just one sculpt, one mold. Uh-oh. Well, that changes everything. Okay, so we got the little stand for all the other accessories, the shovels, the axe. The urn or thermos. We got the bivouac in the background. We got the radio. Yes, it detaches. Okay, man, I don't know why I didn't see that coming. Tagworm says, yeah, rub it in. Hasbro in all their wisdom forgot the spatula for Flint. Yeah, man, Flint is gonna be rotating those freaking eggs and sausages with his bare hands. Coffee roaster. Yeah, see, you guys know more of the terminology than I do. Trust me. The moment I go live streaming, it's like all my knowledge just goes down the drain. Joe Bit says, correct, the campfire fire cap is removable to show the ash. That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, you can flip, you can flip the pan for those eggs, but let's be real, I don't know how many people are good at that though. But this is a nice photo though, at least we finally get to see the bivouac in action. But what if the snow comes from the left side instead of the right instead? Dude's still gonna be freezing. Oh wait, are those eggs? No, never mind. Those are just his goggles. Oh shit. We have Flint. So what do you guys think of Flint? You guys let me know. Do you guys like this Flint figure? Is Flint cool? Is Flint not cool? What do you think? Let me know. Matthew says, I'm sure the shipping is going to be just about like the Rattler. I'm here in Michigan and it costs roughly $25 for shipping and $25 for tax. So I paid $3.75 for the Rattler and would expect this one to be okay. Matthew says be about the same, if not a little less. Joshua says, well, he can use the entrenching tool, aka shovel, if he really needs the spatula. Corbett for Life says Hasbro should lower the price. Ooh, one can wish. I mean, for those who have the retro Flint, this head sculpt is... Do you guys think this head sculpt is better than the retro Flint, or is this the same sculpt? I don't remember at the moment. I think this is... He looks a lot different than the retro one. So... And yeah, you can literally see that it utilizes the same frostbite shoulders and biceps, and then that little torso piece by the pockets. The breast pockets, it's literally like another tooling for frostbite right there. Tagworm says, I want the Flint. Did I read that? I don't remember. Robert says, I don't double my Joes, but that Flint looks good. Michael Ma, welcome to the chat. First time here, I believe. Says, to me, the SnowCat is not on par with the Dream Project. My concern is that it will show Hasbro they can produce something smaller if fans accept this as a HasLab. That's true. I agree with you, Michael. Elvin says, if Hasbro has at last minute gives us all the tiers, even if we don't reach our goals. I don't think they would ever do that. Josh, Benny, welcome to the... Were you here, Benny? Oh, man, now I'm forgetting people. Get that premium to save on that shipping for the HasLab. Couchboy says, Robert, I'd say not dumb world building. Years from now, the pan will be in a bigger kitchen. Roadblock will hold my pan. They look caffeinated. Says, elevate me to the human form. Benny says, SnowCat Flint looks awesome. Nice, nice. Okay. So I guess everyone wants the Flint, roughly. Ooh, Lady Jaye. So I think we'll probably make it to Lady Jaye, only because people want that new Lady Jaye head sculpt, and the problem with this Lady Jaye is that we still need 2,000 more people just to get this Lady Jaye, which makes it tougher. And out of all the Lady Jays that we have so far, it's crazy that the best looking Lady Jaye is the one behind a HasLab project. So it's crazy to know that even then, you know, what collectors would do just for a head sculpt, but that's not all, because aside from the coat, she does come with the signature darker green pants, which is more cartoon accurate. So we don't know in the future if we're going to get the same exact legs with the classic Lady Jaye light green torso and the darker green pants, because we don't have that version of Lady Jaye just yet. But otherwise, the head sculpt though is really nice. Michael says, don't be surprised if HasLab Cobra Pogo just add LEDs. Ooh. Benedict says they really need that Lady Jaye. Yeah, so I think the Lady Jaye might be a very big incentive for people to want to back it. Again, to get an additional 2,000 people, we're only 7 days, well, depending when you watch the stream, we'll be at 6 days shortly from the HasLab, and we are just now almost reaching 8,000. So to find 2,000 more people might be, it might work, depending if it's like the last minute collectors and then the store owners and international people, or etc. But again, you have to get past her to get the Bivouac. So look at Flint. He's like, why are you staring at my girl? All right, but that's cool. All right. Ooh. All right, so here we have Flint looking at additional accessories, which is actually, ooh, the Bivouac, which is folded up and neatly placed into the compartment. So that's very nice. Huh. Who would have thunk? That does look pretty cool. Let me see here. Meant to see if you're a Pulse member. Saw that vintage pogo. Yeah, okay, so that's pretty cool that the Bivouac and all that stuff can be folded and placed on here. Now, if I were to, fund this project, this is exactly where the Bivouac would go. I wouldn't even take it out in general, because I personally wouldn't even use it, just because I wouldn't even have like place to put it, but it's better than putting it in a bag. So if there's actually a compartment to put the Bivouac, then hell, that's pretty cool. I give them a little credit for this kind of engineering. The photos are great, says Elvin. Chris Yule says that is cool. JDS Sweat says, have we ever had any HasLab that funded but no tiers unlocked? The only one close enough was the O-Ring Sky Striker, where the final tier was not unlocked, and that was the ketchup and mustard pit crew that didn't get funded. The vehicle, and then the three, I think, was it 2 or 3 tiers got funded, but the last remaining tier of the pit crew did not get funded. But if you exclude the O-Ring Sky Striker, then every single HasLab has funded 100% in terms of every single tier unlocked. So this might be, which is why it's record breaking. This might be the first ever HasLab to not make all tiers, because again, 14,000 for Flint. That's wild, man. 14,000. Not impossible, but people are speaking up. Oh god. Alright, you guys that are here in the chat right now, I want you to put a caption to this photo. This is where the entire, what do you call it? The emphasis of the HasLab. You got the Bivouac in the background, you got Lady Jaye, and then you have Flint. And all of these may or may not be unlocked. So technically this whole picture could be the rarest one of them all, in the sense of we could not, perhaps we might not even get this at all. So Cobranomics says it might not even fund if folks back out. Very true. A Romo says they're smoking crack. Timothy James says, oh, it is impossible. Skyfall says, eat my sausage. Oh man, that's funny. Elvin says, is there any information about international numbers? Not yet. They usually don't get added till like way at the end. I don't know why, but Benny says, would the Ghost Rider and car be the only one that didn't fund? Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Just the two Joes showing their junk. Oh my god, that's actually funny. This is actually a I don't want to get too graphic with this, but this is very symbolic. If you guys know what I mean. Very, very interesting. 155 was 15 so years then. I can think 300 was a new printer. Says Couchboy. Joe Bit says, in my AI Joe video, I made them kiss. Hey, I mean, why not? You got the whole cot in the background. Have some fun. Oddsmon says the caption, what could have been. Oddsmon also says, I do hope that it funds all the way though. G.I. Joe era from 80s comics is still going thanks to Hama. Yep. Let's see if there's anything new here though. Yeah, it is the best Lady Jaye head sculpt we have. That does look pretty good. Look at that jawline. It looks like she has like a neck collar, or like a collar that's going towards her neck. So half of her neck joint is colored yellow. Oh, what if this is a trick? What if this Lady Jaye head sculpt, what if it doesn't peg onto the existing Lady Jays that we already have? I mean, I know people can drill and make it fit, but for those that are not that handy with using tools, what if this Lady Jaye does not fit on an existing Lady Jaye? That would be a crazy plot twist. Because we already can't use the neck piece because the neck piece has half of her sweater already colored on there. So that's interesting. Flint again, fine. I want Flint to look more more manlier and muscular. This one looks like a teenager. All right, anyways, let's move on. So we'll come back to this photo if none of these get funded, because this is the only photo we'll have of all three tiers in one photo. All right, so before we get to more of the other photos, we're at 89 likes. So for those that want to, if you haven't yet, please like this video. Let's see if we can probably make it to 100 likes before the stream is over. Let's see if we can one up Alan Balcom's 80 likes with Tagworm's 100 likes. So yeah, we're at 89 likes right now. Let's see if we can hit to 100. That would mean we only have like 11 more people to like this video. All right. So this is the only ideal situation where I see these LED lights come in handy. They look great. The blue looks very icy, very fine, very cool. No pun intended. I don't deny that this will look great outside for those to where it snows. If and when it snows to wherever you live, this is gonna make the SnowCat look freaking awesome, just because the blues look really good out in the snow. Now, even if you imagine it, I think the next photo might, no, but even if you imagine, if you take your SnowCat outside and it's like one of those very calming, silent, snowy winter nights when it's like snowing and it's like the skies are like pinkish purple, and all the roads are covered in snow. If you bring the SnowCat out during that time, there's a very big chance that, or or a very awesome chance that your SnowCat's going to look great in photography at that point, because the blues do make the whole vehicle pop out a lot more. Because even though the reds on the Hiss tank are cool and the greens on the Dragonfly are awesome, I have not used my LED lights like since I opened it. I haven't even turned it on since then. But otherwise, the inside details, look at all this. That looks really, really awesome. Oh yeah, see, Robert Wanlin just spoke what I was saying as I zoomed in. Yeah, the decals look absolutely incredible. I give it a 10 out of 10. That's beautiful. That's good stuff. You can even see that the detail of all the dust, or in like the windshield design that's hitting on the actual compartment on the top there. That looks pretty cool. Vil the Great, where have you been, brother? Welcome, he says, with the shark emojis and fists in the air. Hell yeah. Display Scapes, welcome to the chat. I believe this is your first time here. He says, I thought they said it won't be blue lights. No, I mean, ever since they had the original the renders, the original renders, it always had blue lights showcased on the inside. But yeah, that's cool. Ooh, look at that, frosty, very nice. Hold on, somebody said something. Oh, Hollinet says we're only about 50 away from being funded. You know what else we're only away? We're only two likes away from 100 likes on tonight's stream. So who wants to be the final 2? But damn, 50 people away from being funded. Oh shit, I might have to make a SHARKNEWZ later tonight, because I definitely don't think I'm going to be able to be streaming till it funds. But just in case if people back out last minute. But that's really cool. 50 away. So we could see it fund probably, let's see. It's almost 10 p.m. where I am. So 10, 11. So probably by like 2 or 3 a.m. we might see it. Ah, we have another legend in the stream tonight. We have 49er Brian. What's going on, man? How's it going? With the shark emoji. Oh, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We hit tonight's stream goal with 106 likes. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it, guys. You guys are freaking awesome. Thank you guys so much for that. Ooh, this looks like a Bob Ross painting. And speaking of Bob Ross, look at my shirt. It's Bob Ross. Thank you so much. Yeah, Tagworm, man. You were right. You were right this whole time. I should listen to Tagworm a lot more. I mean, shout out to Alan, who wanted 80 likes. Tagworm one-upped him with 100. Damn. Ooh, shout out to Jimmy So. What's going on, brother? All the way from, I forgot where you're from, but thank you so much, man, for joining tonight's stream. It's good to see you, Jimmy. I know every time you step in the stream or the chat, I always end up leaving at that point, but I'm so glad you're actually here. Thank you so much, man. It's good to have you. Russell says that's a happy shirt. Hell yeah. Robert says that is a dope picture. Yeah, this is a really, really nice photo. I do like the yellows. Contrast as well against the lights. Yeah, I mean, all that looks really good. I mean, yeah, no complaints here. Oh shit, Tag Worm with the $5 says ha 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 with the bouncing pear. Thank you so much, Tag Worm. I appreciate it, man. That means a lot. If for some reason I think the ones with the bouncing emojis, it won't let me like give you the shark heart for some reason. It won't let me do it, but so even if I click it, it doesn't tell me that I can. It says I can report it, but it won't let me like the actual donation. But thank you so much, man. Joshua says Bob Ross's lesser known war paintings. Yes, yes. Hollinet says we have tax-free weekend. I'm putting in this Saturday. It's a small reprieve. Oh, nice. All right, everybody, let's give Jimmy So a super duper shout out, because this awesome subscriber is watching all the way from Hong Kong. So shout out to Jimmy So, who is watching my stream all the way from Hong Kong. That is freaking amazing. Wow, that is awesome. It's good to have you here, Jimmy So. Thank you for being here, man. It's so cool, man. I want to visit Hong Kong someday, man. One day. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. Cool photo. Oh shoot, I think that was the last photo. All right, so let's, okay, hold, give me a second here. Let's exit this. Oh, rest in peace, Shark logo. I miss you. All right, let's go back to the Hasbro Pulse website. All right, so before I refresh the page, it says 7,927. That was before, that was right when the stream started. So now let's take a look at, when I refresh, where we are at this moment. 7,944. Very nice. Who said? Somebody said we were at... Oh, well, nobody had the number before. Okay. All right, so we are at 7,944 backers. So we're not too far, man. We're not too far. So for all of you that are watching, let's see here. If it's going up like by 2 to 3 people every, like, I don't know, 10 minutes, we should see this hit the 8,000 mark possibly by tomorrow morning, or super duper early in the morning. We're talking about like maybe 4 a.m. Very, very cool. Now, what I'm gonna end up doing is, let's say if this thing does get funded by tonight, I don't want to do a SHARKNEWZ video just yet because I want to wait until tomorrow and see where the number is, because just in case people back out last minute and the video becomes irrelevant, you know, because what if I do a video saying we hit 8,000 and I'm all excited, and then out of nowhere it jumps back down to like 930. So for precaution's sake, I'm gonna wait till tomorrow night and then see what the official number is, because I think by tomorrow night we should definitely be hitting 8,000. But I want to see if the numbers are gonna go higher or if we're gonna lose people, because it's a big possibility. Okay, let's see here. Osmon says, imagine the SnowCat in all black. Yeah, that would be sick. Tagworm says, just got my bow snake eyes delivered. Nice, congrats, man. Good stuff. Couchboy says, everyone back one. Let's just fund it now. Just got my rattler today, says Robert. Yeah, man, congratulations. I saw your tweet post. Very cool. How many tiers we will hit in 1 week? Let's see here. Depending on when this stream ends, we will be at 6 days left. Therefore, in 6 days, we have to get 2,000 people to get the Lady J. We need 4,000 to get the Bivouac, and then we need 6,000 people in total to get all unlocked. That seems, I mean, you guys tell me. You've already heard my thoughts. What do you guys think? Is 6,000 more backers possible? Is it impossible? 2,000 doesn't seem too bad because, again, international buyers and then store owners, etc., last minute backers. So perhaps we could see a surge of 2,000 people. But if people really, really, really want the Bivouac, then to get 4,000 people, that would be I don't know, man. That seems tough. I mean, you guys let me know. What do you think? Do you think we can do it? Displayscape says I'm cackling if I don't get the fire pit. Ooh. Mo Cobb, welcome to this chat. I believe this is your first time here. He says, I will be funding it next week on Wednesday, no matter the tiers. Nice. Okay, so we can all add in 7,945 for Mo Cobb because he'll be backing it at the end. So +1. So everyone remember +1. So the current number reflects the whole world. No, unfortunately, so Holonet, the current number that we see here, I don't know if this is a fact, so don't quote me on this. I read a post, someone says that the backers on this HasLab only indicates people that are in the US, Canada, and Europe. I think just those three for now. I think everywhere else around the world who wants to get this, I think those haven't been included yet. So unless there's like a collector out in India that wants it, I don't think those numbers are added in there yet. Or maybe they already backed it, but the numbers haven't been totaled in because they're probably going to do it afterwards. But again, don't quote me on it. I don't think this is true, or it could be true, but I don't know how factual this is. But I did read someone saying US, Canada, and UK. So yeah, yes, Elvin Martinez, you were right on that. Display says I was joking, no canceling. Tagworm says I think we can get 2 tiers. Benny says 1,000 per day, we can make it. Matthew says, hey Shark, look at the happy little tree in the background in the picture behind the SNOWCAT. It's a happy little tree. There, I'll tell you what. As a very famous, wise person who's one of my favorite idols said, he goes by the name Tommy Wiseau. You know what they say, love is blind. Oh man. Up top, Jimmy. Couchboy says 3D print cat. Cowboy says 6,000 will happen. Mawcom says it won't reach Lady J though. Oof. Alright, let's refresh real quick. We're still stuck at 44. Okay. Let's see here. Alright, so otherwise, so what we're gonna do here, for those that are here in the chat and those that are watching right now, I will have a SHARKNEWZ video discussing and congratulating those once we hit the 8,000 mark. Next week we are going to go live, but we are going to go live at a later time because I think what I'm going to do is we will have a HasLab funding party. For those who won't be able to make it, I totally get it, but I think what I'm going to do is we will push the timing a little bit later in the night. That way we can see what the quote-unquote official funding will be. And so if you guys would like to join, that would be... Oh, hi Mark, says Joshua. Osmod says, Lisa, you're tearing me apart. You're just a little chicken. Cheep, 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 cheap. So yeah, so if you guys would like to join that stream, we're going to do that next week. Otherwise, it's going to be a pretty fun next couple of days. The numbers could increase, it could decline, who knows? We'll figure it out. So I think we will end the stream tonight here with 7,944. We should have 8,000 probably by tomorrow. If anything crazy happens, then I think we will, I will go live, but I don't think anything too drastic will happen. But if anything does happen live, we'll do it. But like I said, next week we're gonna call it a midnight live stream, or we'll call it SHARKNEWZ Dark, where we're all gonna be, for those that can make it, even if it's like 5 people, that's totally fine. But I'm gonna go live and we're gonna have a, as Robert says, a countdown party if anybody wants to join. 49er says, can I come? Yeah, man, everyone is welcome, bro. We're all gonna have a party. Elvin says he'll bring the tacos. Nice. All right, sounds great. All right, so I think I'm going to end tonight's stream here. So thank you guys so much for joining. It was an honor to... Oh, Jamie Alvarez says hello from Reynosa, Mexico. Welcome, Jamie. Hopefully I said that right. Thank you, Jamie, man. Good to have you here. First time, I believe. Nice. 19J says nice chill stream, like you said. Thank you so much, 19, man. Appreciate you joining. Joshua says you heard it. If it hits tier 2 at 2 a.m., we're waking Shark up. Please do. Mocop says it's not the first time on your stream, first time posting. There are plenty of creative people in the GIJOE community who can come up with the Bivouac. Maybe Gridiron will do something. Oh, hell yeah. Gridiron will definitely do something for sure. But with that being said, I want to thank you guys all for joining tonight's stream. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you for all the 112 likes. Thank you for watching my videos, and for everyone who commented on the past 3 or 2 SHARKNEWZ videos, man, thank you guys so much. I will see you all in the next stream next week, and good luck and congratulations to all of you who have backed your HasLab, because we probably will be getting 8,000 by later tonight, probably tomorrow morning, but it should be great. So Elevate Me says watching from the Philippines. Holy shit, that's freaking amazing. Thank you guys. Thank you, man. Thank you. Shout out to Elevate Me as well. Thank you to all my international subscribers, man. You guys are freaking amazing. And Zoran just got into the chat. All right, I will see you guys all in the next stream. Take care, have a great weekend, enjoy your figures, and I will see you